Before there were maps, there were two worlds. The world you know, and the shining realm of Kaf, hidden just beyond it. A kingdom of fairies and giants and magic. On the night he was born, an emperor 1,000 miles away woke from a dream. A black crow that stole his crown, and a bright hawk that flew out of the west to win it back. And the wise men said, "That hawk is a child, and he will shake the thrones of the world." That same night, the fairies of Kaf carried the sleeping baby across the sky. They blessed him, and they touched his eyes, so that nothing hidden could ever hide from him again. His name was Hamza. He would become the bravest champion the world had ever seen. Strong as a lion, a warrior against 100 armies, a prince who lost his heart to a princess, and at his side, the cleverest trickster who ever lived. Amir, a thief of 1,000 disguises, and the truest friend a hero ever had. Together, they crossed burning deserts and enchanted mountains. They faced sorcerers and giants and dragons and the demon armies of Kaf. They saw wonders no eye had ever seen. Thrones that flew, cities of gold, gardens that bloomed in the dark, courage, magic, love, and laughter. One of the greatest stories ever told, carried for 1,000 years. And now, it is yours. This is the Dastan of Amir Hamza. A man who has given the world away, children, believes the world is done with him. But the world is never done. It sends debtors, it sends jackals, and sometimes, patient as an orange tree, it sends what has loved you all along. You left him last night in a meadow with a broom in his hands. The lion made a lamb by grief. The Sahib Kiran, who had laughed in the face of devs, now sweeping the dust from a tomb, month upon month, and speaking to no one. For Muqbil, the faithful one, kept the only company that grief can bear, which is silence. But word travels. The tail of the retired lion crossed the hills, and two old hatreds lifted their heads to hear it. The first was a warlord named Karun bin Farhad, who had a debt of blood to settle. And the second I ask you to look at kindly, for a single breath. Kuliat bin Gilim, the son of the assassin who was torn apart for the murder of Kobad. His grief, children, was as real as Hamza's. The saga keeps an honest ledger. Vengeance breeds vengeance, and every justice leaves a mourner. And so Kuliat came to the tomb, not with a sword, but with a bow. Dressed as a wandering darvish, serving at the graveside for days, humble, unwatched. And then he poured the water, the drugged water, offered with a servant's bow. It was the Ayah's own craft, children. The very move you have watched Amir work for 18 nights, turned now against its masters. And the sacrilege of it is that it worked. Hamza and Muqbil woke in chains. They had built a pillar for him, 120 yards of it, raised for one purpose. And they hung to the refuge of the world at its head, with bells fastened to his limbs, so that every movement of his agony would ring out like music for the men who had come to enjoy it. Camel hide and salt and the daily whip. I will tell you no more of the lash than that, children. The horror of that place is not in the whip. It is in the bells, and it is in the face of Muqbil, made to stand at the foot of the pillar and watch, saying nothing, memorizing every face that laughed. And there was one face among them I must name, though it shames the telling. For under an awning, invited, counselled, and comfortable, sat Naushavan, the king of kings, the man Hamza had lifted back onto his throne not once but twice, the father of the bride from the wedding arcade. He had come to watch his own son-in-law flayed. No forged letter this time, no back tuck to carry the blame. Only an old emperor, in the shade, watching. That, children, is the last we shall see of him upon his feet, and you must see it clearly, or you will not understand the mercy that comes tomorrow. But Abdul-Muttalib's letters were already flying, and though the couriers were hunted, though Amar's own aged father was taken among them, no net catches every bird, and the letters did what letters do. They called in a harvest. Everything that Mercy had ever planted now rode toward one meadow. Landhar's war elephant on one horizon, Farkari's mace on another, Adi and the boy king Sa'd bin Amr with the lancers of Egypt, every forgiven enemy, every ransomed friend converging on the pillar. And who reached it first? Who else? The whip-bearer had a water carrier that day, a stooped and shuffling servant no one troubled to look at twice, and that servant climbed the pillar and set his knife to the ropes. And for the first time in all this long tale, children, the hands of the king of the Ayars were shaking. He said only 4 words, and his voice was not steady. "Brother, the notebook is full." Then Korun's host closed ranks around its prize, and that, at last, was the moment the tale had owed you since the 10th night. For out of the forest, dust rose 40 pennants, the colour of a setting sun. 40 orange banners, and the veiled one, the masked rider who had haunted the edges of this whole story, unnamed, unthanked, took the field like dawn taking a valley, and where Karun's line had stood, there was simply nothing standing any more. Kuliyat went into the Zambil bag alive. "You," said Amar, "I am keeping. Professional reasons." Karun was handed to Landhar's justice, and the emperor's awning, when they came to it, was empty. Naushavan had already fled toward Ctesiphon, and toward tomorrow. So they freed him, and they healed him among the great gathered family that his mercy had made. And Hamza went once more to the tomb. He did not make a speech. He swept it a final time, and set the broom against the stone, and mounted Ashkar. For a vow, children, is not a house you must live in forever. A vow becomes, in the end, a direction, and his pointed, at last, back toward the living. Now the orange camp was pitched beside his own, and at dusk the masked rider walked, unheralded, into Hamza's tent. The old courtesies of challenge were spoken, and then Hamza, who had wandered for 18 years, who rode beneath that veil, reached out and drew it aside. Naranj Pari, the veiled one, exiled princess of the fairies. Love to her was service freely given. For 18 years she would keep Hamza's people, and speak, when at last unveiled, in the patience of all those years. And there was a face the moon might envy, and the Sahib Kiran, who had laughed at devs, who had wrestled mountains, fainted dead away. Oh, do not laugh too hard, children, or laugh all you like, for it is the last pure jest of the season, and it is spent, fittingly, on the hero himself. Amar knew the remedy, perfume and rosewater, and then, delivered with a physician's grave face, his own prescription. "With respect, madam, kiss him. It is medically indicated." She did, and it worked. Then came the wine and the story. She was Naranj Pari, the Orange Fairy, an exiled princess of Kaf, who had seen the human champion once, long ago, in Sharpal's wars, and had loved him ever after with a love she could never spend. She could not have him, and so she had chosen the road that Asman Pari never could. Not possession, service, in secret. Every impossible rescue of the Kaf years, every one of Amar's 3 salvations, every luckiest day the fort ever knew, had been her hand, working unseen, for 18 years, and never once asking to be thanked. "Asman Pari loved you like a dungeon, Sahib Kiran," she said. "I had no throne to keep you in, so I kept your people instead. It seemed the version of love that would not shame the word." And Hamza said to her the truest thing this whole tale had taught him, You loved, he said, the way the free love. And then he turned. Amar, you once performed a wedding in disguise. Do this one as yourself. So the marriage of the autumn of his life was witnessed by the notebook itself. Amar read the whole long ledger of her secret rescues aloud, as a dowry paid in reverse. And it was the fort's biggest laugh, and then its longest weeping. And the line continued, children, as lines do. There was another road marriage, half a farce, Hamza incognito, and the wedding performed by a suspiciously learned travelling judge who was, beyond all doubt, Amar, in a false beard, marrying his own brother off, while very nearly winking at you. And years on, the fruit of it, a prince of rum who scattered the army's champions, felling Landhau, felling Farhad, until Hamza himself stepped out to face him, and a voice of light stopped the duel. The boy is your own. Rustam Piltan, the elephant body, the son who had grown up a stranger and fought his way home into his father's arms. The world part returns what it takes. Children, never the same coin, and in Hamza's embrace of that found son, there was one held breath for the boy who was not there. So the tomb kept its tenant only until the world proved it still needed him. And love turned out to have been riding escort the whole time, in orange, asking for nothing. One lamp left now, and one debt left. The oldest one of all. Sleep, children. Tomorrow, the fire temple, and the hawk, one last time with a crown in its claws.